Rain lashes against the side of the bus as Lena Torres steps down, one hand pressed to her growing belly, the other gripping a faded suitcase. Windermere Bay feels like the end of the world, a cold street, a flickering street lamp, and silence so heavy it almost hurts to breathe. Her phone screen glows with warnings she can't bear to read, and an eviction notice crumpled in her pocket digs into her skin, reminding her of everything she lost before sunrise. She holds an ultrasound photo close, the edges worn from worry, her thumb brushing the tiny shape printed inside it. This child is the only reason she keeps moving, the only thing that hasn't given up on her. She stares at the rundown building she somehow won, its windows dark like watching eyes. The front door creaks open on its own, a whisper drifting out as if calling her name. Who knew she'd come here? Let us know where you are watching from. Now, back to our character. Lena wakes before sunrise, the old building still cold enough to make her breath fog. Her back aches from sleeping on the hard floor, wrapped in a thin blanket she found in a forgotten cabinet. She presses a hand to her belly, whispering that she's trying to give them a home, trying not to break. Loose tiles crack under her feet as she looks around the main lobby. Dust coats every surface like forgotten snow. A long desk, once used to welcome people, is now covered in old papers and pieces of fallen ceiling. A grand staircase curls into the shadows above, each step groaning under its own weight. It is a place that remembers more than it should. She rolls up her sleeves and gets to work. Not because she has the strength, but because stopping will make her think. And if she thinks too long, she might cry again. She starts by sweeping the floor, a small task that feels like trying to clean the ocean. Cobwebs cling to her broom. The air tastes like forgotten memories, stale, heavy, full of whispers buried long ago. At first she thinks the whispers are only the wind moving through broken windows. Soft, harmless, almost comforting, like someone saying, "It's all right. Keep going." She smiles weakly at that thought. Maybe the place isn't all bad. Hours pass. She checks each room on the first floor. Some are empty. Some hold rusted cabinets, old chairs, forgotten cups with dust thick as mud. Nothing special. But one room doesn't make sense. It's not on the map taped near the entrance. It has no door handle, no sign that it was ever meant to exist. Yet there it is, a narrow door slightly open, showing a dark hallway that shouldn't be behind it. Her skin prickles, but she pushes it wider and steps through. The hallway curves sharply, leading to a storage room lined with shelves. Old medical equipment sits abandoned, glass jars, cracked basins, a metal table tilted to one side. She shivers. The air changes here, colder like someone exhaled right beside her ear. The broom slips from her hand. A whisper floats behind her. Not words. A soft hush, like someone calming a child. Her baby kicks. Lena leaves quickly, shutting the door behind her as fast as she can. She locks her arms around herself, trying to steady her heartbeat. It's just a building, she tells herself. Old buildings make noise. Later that morning, someone knocks on the main door. She startles, heart racing. When she opens it, a young man stands there holding a folder against his chest. "Hi," he says, offering a small, cautious smile. "I'm Ben Holloway. I work at the town library." Lena stiffens, unsure if she should trust anyone here. But something in his eyes is gentle, curious, not cruel. I heard someone moved in, he continues. This place, it has a lot of history. Thought you might want to know some of it. She glances at the peeling wallpaper, at the pieces of ceiling scattered at her feet. History isn't really my priority, she admits. I just need somewhere to stay. Ben nods slowly. Yeah, I get that. He looks past her into the building, his expression turning uneasy. People around here believe this place still belongs to a woman who never got the justice she deserved. Lena frowns. Who? He hesitates, then lowers his voice. Dr. Helena Torres, a midwife. They said she tried to change nature, that she used methods people weren't ready to understand. He shifts nervously. Many still think her spirit never left. The name hits Lena like cold water. Torres, her name. But she doesn't react. She keeps her face blank, even as her heart hammers beneath her ribs. What happened to her? She asks quietly. Ben sighs. She was blamed for the deaths of mothers and babies. People said she caused them, not tried to save them. He shakes his head. They punished her without proof. A chill crawls up Lena's spine. The whispers. The secret room. The medical equipment. Ben studies her belly, then quickly looks away. Listen. The town doesn't like outsiders staying here. They'll make you feel unwelcome. If they tell you to leave, they're not trying to be mean. He pauses. They just want to keep you safe. Lena's voice tightens. Safe from what? His answer is simple. The curse. She laughs once, a short, sharp sound, before she can stop herself. I don't believe in curses. Maybe not. But they believe enough for everyone. Ben opens his folder and pulls out a faded photograph. He hands it to her. This was Helena. Lena's breath catches. The woman in the photo looks just like her. Same eyes. Same shape of face. Same stubborn tilt to the chin. She forces herself to look away. That doesn't prove anything. No, he agrees softly. It just raises questions. Footsteps crunch behind them. An older woman stands on the sidewalk, gripping a grocery bag like a shield. Her glare cuts through the air. You shouldn't be here, Ben, she snaps. And you, she points at Lena, her voice trembling. Don't let that place fool you. Leave before it takes you like it took the others. Lena's throat tightens. Others. But the woman turns and walks away without another word. Ben steps backward, unsure whether to continue or stay silent. I'll go, he says. But he meets Lena's eyes again. If you want help or answers, come find me at the library. He leaves her with the photo still trembling in her fingers. That night, the whispers grow louder. Not angry, pleading, calling her name with urgency she can't ignore. Her baby kicks again, stronger this time, as if responding, as if agreeing. She lies awake, staring at the ceiling, afraid to close her eyes. Maybe she didn't choose this building. Maybe the building chose her. The next morning, sunlight struggles through broken windows, cutting narrow paths across the dusty floor. Lena sits on a step with a slice of stale bread she found tucked in her suitcase, chewing slowly as she thinks about the photo Ben gave her. She keeps pulling it out, staring, pushing it away, then staring again. That face didn't just look similar. It looked like hers. She finally forces herself up. Cleaning helps quiet her thoughts. She returns to the hallway with the hidden room. The door stands silent now, like it never made a sound. With a shaky breath, she grabs the broom and pushes the door open again. Inside, faint light glints off metal, equipment she doesn't understand. She decides not to look too closely. Not yet. Instead, she dusts the walls. Cobwebs cling stubbornly. When she taps her broom against a panel of plaster, the wall hollows with a dull echo. Her heart jolts. She taps again. Hollow. She grabs a rusty hammer from a nearby bucket left by a worker long gone. The metal is cold in her hand. She hesitates only a moment, then strikes the wall. Plaster cracks. A chunk breaks away, falling to her feet in a white cloud. Behind it, a hidden compartment. A wooden box sits inside, edges worn from age. Something has been waiting. She pulls it out, brushing off dust thick as ash. The lock has rusted away. With careful hands, she lifts the lid. Inside are 3 journals, leather cracked and faded. She holds the first and reads the name written inside. Dr. Helena Torres. Her breath stutters. The handwriting is strong and sharp, like someone who refused to be ignored. She flips through pages filled with medical notes, sketches of babies in different stages of life, drawings of strange tools she's never seen before. A line catches her eye. I will not lose another child. I will not let grief win. Lena's throat tightens. She touches her belly, feeling a small kick of life pressing from the inside. Another page. They think I bring death. They refuse to see how I fight for life. She reads faster, voice barely a whisper following the ink. The entries grow frantic as the pages continue, Helena writing about mothers who arrived too late, about treatments denied, about townspeople spreading lies. Then she turns to a page that chills her. The women who died were buried without prayers. Their babies were taken from them. Their husbands silenced themselves. Windmere Bay forgets what it owes. Lena's stomach turns. She looks up, scanning the room like the walls might answer. She reaches for the second journal. It contains birth records, names, dates, scribbles of fear and hope pressed into every line. She sees notations. Baby survived. Mother weak. Mother lost. Husband refuses explanation. Town council demands my methods stay hidden. She flips to the last written page. If someone with my blood returns, she must continue the work. She must finish what I could not. Lena freezes. Her breath becomes tight. Her ears ring. The room feels smaller now, like the walls have moved closer. Suddenly, a sharp pain cuts through her belly. She gasps and drops the journal, catching herself on the metal table. The pain passes quickly, like lightning that hits once and leaves thunder behind. Her baby shifts inside her, strong. Too strong for 5 months. A whisper floats near her ear. Lena. She spins around. No one there. Her pulse races, fear creeping up her spine. She bends to pick up the journal, but the floor seems to pulse beneath her palm, like a heartbeat. She stares down, eyes wide. This building is not dead. It's waiting. Later, after hours of scrubbing and trying to distract herself, she sits at the front entrance, Helena's journals on her lap. She turns to a page where Helena's words feel carved with desperation. I hear them crying at night. The mothers who are gone. They ask me to make things right. A shiver works its way through Lena's body. She looks toward the stairs that lead to the upper rooms. She hasn't even explored that part yet, and now she isn't sure she wants to. As she sits there, trying to breathe slowly, a memory she doesn't recognize washes over her. She is lying on a bed with white sheets. A woman who looks exactly like her, or maybe it is her, leans over a newborn crying weakly. The woman is screaming for help, her face full of fear and love at the same time. Men drag her away. The baby falls silent. Lena gasps and snaps out of the vision, sweat beading at her forehead. Her hands shake so hard the journal nearly falls again. That wasn't a dream. That wasn't imagination. She presses her hands hard against her belly. Her baby kicks again. Firm, sure, like it's answering something she cannot hear. She whispers to her child, tears burning her eyes. Do you know more than me? Do you know why we're here? No answer, except another kick. Harder. The whispers come again, louder, like multiple voices layered together, impossible to separate. She claps her hands over her ears, squeezing her eyes shut. Stop, she begs. Please stop. The voices fade, but not fully. They linger like a song humming under her skin. She tries to stand, but her knees buckle. She sinks back to the cold floor. She bites her lip to keep from crying out loud. She will not show weakness. Not here. Not anymore. When she finally looks up, she notices something she hadn't before. A small metal door set into the floor near the front desk. Scratched. Reinforced. Locked with a heavy latch. Burial records. Unmarked graves. A building full of secrets. She thinks of the line from Helena's journal. The women who died were buried without prayers. Her heart stumbles. Is that what's beneath her feet? A burial ground? Mothers whose stories never made it beyond these walls? The air grows colder around her. She pulls Helena's journals against her chest like they might protect her. The paper smells like time and loss, like truth no one wanted to hear. A soft whisper drifts from below, gentle, yet full of sorrow. Lena presses her hand to her belly. Her baby presses back. Not just a baby, a witness, a connection, a reason the dead are waking. She looks at the sealed metal door one more time, and knows that sooner or later she will have to open it. Not for curiosity, for justice, for the mothers whose names were taken, for Helena, for herself. She leans her head back against the wall and closes her eyes, feeling the heartbeat of the building beneath her like a warning or a welcome. This is no longer just a place to sleep. It's a place demanding answers. And she is the only one left who can give them. Lena wakes in the middle of the night to the sound of footsteps above her. Slow, dragging footsteps. Her heart pounds against her ribs. She sits up, breathing fast. The building is dark except for the faint glow of a street lamp leaking through a cracked window. She tells herself it's an animal, a raccoon, a stray cat. But no animal knows how to walk like that. No animal calls her name in a whisper-soft voice. Lena. The voice isn't threatening. It sounds familiar. It feels like it knows her better than she knows herself. She presses a hand to her belly, willing her child to stay calm, but the baby kicks hard, like reacting to someone it recognizes. She whispers, "I'm here. I'm not going anywhere." Maybe she's lying to both of them. She reaches for Helena's journals. She can't stop reading them, even though each page tears at something deep inside her. Tonight she turns to the newest entry she hasn't seen yet. "They say I take life. They refuse to see how I give it." She reads the words twice, feeling a connection she never asked for. She flips ahead. "If I fail, they will erase everything. My work, my truth, even my name." Tears fill her eyes. She wipes them away angrily. She will not let history repeat itself. Not again. By morning, she gathers the courage to return to the secret hallway room. Sunlight helps. It makes her believe she can face what's hidden. She sets the journals aside and uses the hammer to chip more plaster away, uncovering the full outline of the hidden chamber. Behind the wall, she discovers more shelves with loose files and rolled-up drawings. Medical charts written in Helena's careful handwriting. Sketches of tools designed to help mothers survive childbirth. Helena was not the monster they accused her of being. She was a healer before her time. But towns that fear change find easy targets. She tucks one of the documents into her pocket, a diagram of the building, including areas she has not explored yet. The basement. The floor beneath the floor. A level someone wanted buried deep. She leans closer, noticing a red mark drawn around a space under the main lobby. A note scrawled beside it reads, "Vault. Keep sealed until she returns." Her skin prickles. Who is she? The answer feels obvious now. Too obvious. Helena wasn't writing for herself. She was writing for Lena. A sudden loud knock causes her to jump. She drops the hammer, breath catching in her throat. The knock comes again, more urgent. When she opens the front door, Ben stands there, cheeks flushed from the cold, worry written all over his face. "You need to come with me," he says quickly. Lena shakes her head. "I'm not leaving. I can't." He glances inside, then lowers his voice. "You don't understand. It's not safe for you here." "You said that before," she replies, stepping back but not closing the door. "I didn't listen then, and I'm not listening now." He hesitates, struggling with something he doesn't want to say. "I went through more archives. Old newspapers. Court records." He looks her directly in the eyes. Helena Torres was condemned because she refused to stop treating women who were dying. Powerful men believed childbirth wasn't something to interfere with. His fists clench. So they accused her of murder. The room sways slightly as the truth sinks deeper. They punished a woman for trying to save lives, for refusing to give up. Ben continues softly. The execution happened inside this building. They made her final moments a warning. Lena's heart stutters. That's why the walls remember. Ben nods. There's more. He lifts a folded paper. Birth certificates. One belongs to your mother. She was born here, shortly after Helena's death. Lena staggers back, grabbing the railing. "No. My mother never told me. She didn't want this history for you," he says. "But now it's found you." Lena looks down at her belly, feeling her child move again. This isn't coincidence. This isn't chance. Ben tries once more, voice almost breaking. Please. Leave while you still can. She meets his gaze with new resolve. I'm done running. He swallows hard and nods, defeated, but still worried. If you need me, he says, I'll come when you call. As he leaves, she watches him go with gratitude tugging at her chest. He is the only person in Windmere Bay who doesn't look at her like she's already lost. Later that evening, Lena tries to distract herself by clearing debris near the lobby. But the strange metal door in the floor keeps catching her eye. It feels like it's staring at her, waiting. The whispers start again, louder than before. Not violent, not angry, just desperately trying to be heard. She kneels and places her palm against the cold metal surface. The door is sealed tight, but it pulses beneath her hand. Once, twice. A heartbeat. She yanks her hand away, staggering to her feet. Her head spins with fear she can't swallow. Stop, she whispers. Please stop. But the building doesn't stop. The front doors slam shut with a boom. The windows rattle as if shaking off chains. Her chest tightens as the lights flicker overhead. She tries to leave, tries to push the door open, but it won't budge. It's locked without a key. She isn't trapped by accident. The building is holding on to her, insisting she stay. A contraction, sudden and sharp, cuts across her belly. She gasps and sinks to her knees. Not yet, she begs silently. Too early. Too soon. The pain passes, but the fear stays. She crawls to a chair and forces herself up, gripping the wood so tight her knuckles turn white. She breathes through tears she refuses to let fall. Helena is closer than ever. Her story is crawling up from the past, demanding to be finished. Lena stares at the metal door again, heart trembling in her chest. This isn't just a building with secrets. It's a prison for women who were silenced. A grave for mothers forgotten. A warning to anyone who dares to challenge fate. But it's also a call. A call to the one woman who shares Helena's blood. The only one who can make things right. Lena whispers to the air, to the voices, to Helena, to her unborn child. I'm not leaving. If you need me to hear you, I'm listening. The floor beneath her hums in response. A pulse. A promise. She just doesn't know if it's a promise of salvation or sacrifice. Night falls heavy and silent. The kind of silence that feels aware. Lena sits on the edge of the old receptionist's desk, one hand pressed against her belly, the other gripping Helena's last journal. She has stopped pretending she's here by accident. The building has chosen her. Her blood woke it up. She turns to the final pages, her pulse loud in her ears. They wanted control. They wanted the credit. They wanted me gone. They fear what they cannot understand. They fear a woman who refuses to obey. Suddenly a sharp pain slices across Lena's body. Not a contraction. Something deeper. A force trying to open a locked door inside her mind. The journal slips from her fingers. The room fades. She is no longer herself. She is Helena. Her lungs burn as she is dragged through the hall, wrists tied, begging to save the crying mother lying on the floor. The councilmen shout over her voice, calling her dangerous, accusing her of forcing life where nature planned death. They're not blind. They're protecting their power. Healthy mothers meant no room for their fear-driven traditions. A woman saving lives meant someone they couldn't control. Helena screams for compassion, but they only hear disobedience. She sees one man step forward, a young man who looks familiar. Dark hair, cold eyes. He is the loudest calling for her punishment. Helena gasps his name. Lena knows it too, because she whispered that name in love once. Because that name was the last word she ever expected to hear here. Elias, her baby's father. His family helped kill Helena. Pain yanks Lena out of the vision. She falls to her knees, hands pressed to the ground. Her baby kicks, not with fear, but fierce and strong. The whispers fill the air again, dozens of female voices speaking together. Finish what she began. She crawls toward the metal door embedded in the floor. It rattles under her hand, as if trying to break free from the frame. Dust shakes loose from the ceiling. Light bulbs flicker wildly above her. Her breath catches. The building is fully awake. She hears footsteps, not above this time. Below. Someone, something, is moving under that metal door. The voices rise, desperate now. Lena can make out words. They buried the truth. Open the vault. Help us. Each phrase feels like hands gripping her shoulders, pushing her forward. She pulls herself up, limping as another contraction tightens her stomach. Too early. Far too early. There should be months left. But the building doesn't care about her timeline. It cares about the blood in her veins and the life inside her. She grabs the edge of the door and tries to lift it. It doesn't move. She tries again, teeth gritted, body shaking. Not enough strength. Her knees give out. She lands hard on the floorboards, gasping, crying out in frustration and pain. "Tell me what you want," she screams into the silence. The answer comes in a flash, a full vision so vivid she tastes the blood in Helena's mouth as they forced her into that same room. They tied Helena to the very chair they accused her of creating to play God. They refused her pleas. They refused to see the truth. They refused her humanity. Fire. Smoke. A final breath stolen by hatred. Helena's last thought was not fear. It was regret. I won't be here to help the next one. The vision snaps away. Lena sobs into her hands. Her phone buzzes weakly, the screen almost dead. A message from Elias flashes before it goes black. "Where are you? I'm sorry. Please call me." Her heart clenches, not from love, but betrayal. His apology isn't enough. His family did this. They hunted Helena into the ground. And by falling for him, Lena was led right back to the trap they set generations ago. Windermere Bay never stopped watching for Helena's blood to return. The raffle wasn't luck. It was a summons. Another contraction slams through her body. She cries out, clutching her belly, breathing in short, quick bursts. Sweat beads at her hairline. Her legs tremble uncontrollably. "No," she whispers, shaking her head. "Not yet. Please, not yet." The building pulses again, the heartbeat under her becoming faster, stronger. The journals fall from the desk, pages fluttering as if caught in a wind only they can feel. One page lands near her hand. She forces her vision to focus on the words. She will bring the birth that saves us all. Lena grips the paper until it crumples. She isn't just here to learn the past. She is here to rewrite it. But how? Her water hasn't broken. Her contractions aren't steady. This isn't labor. It's a warning. The past is clenching its fist around the future. She drags herself upright using the desk. Her breath rushes shallow, eyes burning from tears she refuses to give into. "I'm stronger than what they did to you," she whispers into the air. "They won't erase us again." The whispers soften, not sad anymore. Grateful. Another kick from her child. A firm reminder that she isn't alone. The heartbeat beneath her steadies, like the building is waiting for her decision. She meets the sealed door with a look that holds both fear and promise. "Not tonight," she says. The whispers pause, listening. "I will come back." She rests a hand over her belly. "And we'll finish this together." As she turns away, the building stays quiet, holding its breath. Her legs barely support her as she climbs the stairs. Every step hurts. Every muscle in her body begs for rest. She collapses onto a mattress she found earlier, clutching a pillow to her stomach, rocking through the lingering pain. By the time sleep takes her, one thought remains. The past is ready to repeat itself. But this time, she will not let them win. Lena wakes to a deep rumble beneath her, like the ground is shifting in its sleep. The lamps flicker once, twice, before they flare too bright and burn out completely. Darkness folds around her. She grips the edge of the bed to steady herself, breathing hard, the pain in her belly returning in sharp waves. She whispers to her child, "Stay with me, please," but the reply is a kick so strong she almost cries out. The heartbeat under the floor starts again, loud now, almost shaking the walls. The building is alive with purpose. The time it was waiting for has come. She forces herself up, using the wall for balance. Each step sends pain radiating through her body, like her bones are trying to remember someone else's last walk. Voices rise from the basement, hundreds of them, layered and breathless, calling her name. Lena, Lena, Lena. Not calling her to run, calling her downward. The stairway leading to the basement seems darker than it should be. She hesitates. A contraction grips her again. Sharper this time, her knees buckle. She grips the railing until it bites into her palm. "Not yet," she begs through clenched teeth. "Please, not yet." But the pain isn't asking permission. It is summoning. She takes one careful step downward, then another. The stairs groan, dust falling from the ceiling like the building is waking from a long sleep. By the time she reaches the bottom, her breath is ragged, sweat cooling on her skin. Something has changed here. The far wall, the one she could never figure out how to open, isn't solid anymore. A single crack runs from the ceiling to the floor, glowing faintly like light seeping from another world. The crack widens under her gaze, stone shifting aside in a slow grind. The wall opens. Beyond it stands a room lit by soft, golden light that doesn't seem to come from any lamp or bulb. At first she only sees the shape of a chair, carved from stone, curved in places to hold the weight of a woman in labor. Intricate patterns flow across its surface like veins. Her breath freezes when she sees the names engraved into the stone. Helena Torres, Lena Torres, side by side, united in purpose. Her heart pounds, fear clashing with fate. A soft glow gathers behind her. She turns slowly. Helena stands there. Not a shadow. Not a trick of light. Not a dream. A woman with the same eyes. The same strength in her jaw. Hair flowing like curls of smoke lit by firelight. Helena looks younger than the photos, alive and fierce, the kind of woman who would defy death itself to protect what she loves. Her presence is calm, but filled with urgency. "You returned," Helena says, her voice warm yet weighted by pain. "Our blood always finds its way home." Lena's throat tightens. "Why me?" "Because you are the hope they tried to burn away." Helena glides closer, not walking, remembering the act of walking. She presses a gentle hand to Lena's stomach. The baby responds with a strong kick, as if greeting a long-lost protector. "A child born of this blood," Helena murmurs, "will end the suffering that began with me." The golden light flares for a heartbeat, revealing more of the chamber. Shelves holding jars of herbs turned to dust, metal tools cleaned but forgotten, and dozens of small plaques engraved with names. Women lost. Stories cut short. Voices silenced. Helena's gaze softens with sorrow. "They punished mothers for dying. They punished me for trying to save them." Her fingers tighten on Lena's arm. "They must answer for their cruelty." A contraction slams into Lena's body, harder than the others. She cries out and nearly collapses, but Helena catches her, steady as iron. "It's too soon," Lena gasps. "My baby." "Your child is stronger than time," Helena says. "Stronger than death. You carry the final chapter." The walls tremble. Dust falls around them. From above, voices echo, not friendly voices. Angry. Terrified. The townspeople are gathering outside. Their footsteps thunder like judgment returning for a second trial. "They know," Helena whispers. "And fear always tries to destroy what it cannot control." Another voice cuts through. "Open the doors. Get her out before it happens again." Men's voices. Women's too. Shouts. Threats. Prayers. Helena turns toward the noise, eyes burning with a strength Lena can't understand. "They will not take another child from us." Her attention returns to Lena, gentler now. "You have two choices." She lifts a trembling hand and touches Lena's cheek with a tenderness that breaks her heart. "Run away and live in fear, or sit in the chair meant for you." Lena stares at the stone seat. The pain. The whispers. The truth she didn't ask for but can't deny. "What if I'm not strong enough?" she whispers. "You already are," Helena replies. "You came back." Outside, the pounding on the door grows louder, desperate. Someone shouts, "We have to stop this now." Another screams, "She'll curse us all." Lena flinches. The old fear of rejection, accusation, being alone against those with power. Helena's voice cuts through the noise. "They called me a curse because I chose life over obedience." Lena looks into Helena's eyes, eyes that mirror her own, and something inside her shifts. The fear doesn't disappear, but it changes shape. It becomes purpose. A contraction hits with brutal force. She screams, bending forward, stomach clenched in fire. Helena wraps her arms around her, guiding her closer to the chair. "Trust your blood," Helena whispers. "Trust yourself." Lena collapses into the stone seat, shaking, breath sharp and fast. The stone warms beneath her like living skin. The building hums. The heartbeat under the floor syncs with her own. The voices of the departed mothers fill the chamber, gentle at first, then rising like a chorus. Let her finish. Let her heal. Let her live. Lena's tears fall freely now, not just fear or pain, but strength she never knew she carried. The pounding at the doors stops suddenly, as if the whole town outside is holding its breath, terrified of what comes next. Helena kneels beside her, placing cool hands against Lena's temples. Breathe. You are not alone. You will never be alone again. The floor shakes once, a promise sealed. Lena clutches the arms of the chair, jaw tight, breath steadying as she speaks aloud. This ends with me. The smell of smoke hit Lena before she even realized the fire had started. One moment, she was walking down the polished hallway of Windermere Bay, clutching the files Helena had left behind. The next, the floor beneath her hummed with a faint, insistent vibration. Then came the heat, a creeping, suffocating wave that wrapped around her chest like a vice. Fire! Everyone out! A voice screamed, cutting through the sudden panic like glass. Flames licked the edges of the lower floors, hungrily consuming paper, wood, and glass. The stairwell filled almost immediately with a thick, choking smoke that rose like a living thing, curling and writhing toward the ceiling. Lena coughed violently, her lungs burning, her vision blurring. She tried to move toward the exit, but the hallway seemed to stretch, twisting and folding in on itself. Every door she tried was locked or warped from the heat. Her hands shook as she fumbled with her phone, desperate for a signal. No luck. No one could reach her down here, not with the fire spreading so quickly. Panic rose, but beneath it, a deeper, steadier pulse, the life growing inside her, urging her forward. Then came the first sharp pang. Lena froze, pressing a hand to her abdomen, eyes wide. The sensation rippled through her like a shockwave, urgent, undeniable. She was in labor, alone, surrounded by smoke, fire, and the chaos of a building crumbling around her. Tears stung her eyes, but they weren't only fear. Memories came unbidden, Helena's voice, always calm, always certain, whispering about strength, about endurance. Helena had fought to save the mothers and children who had no one else. And now, the firemen, the nurses, the social workers, they were ghosts, shadows of the women Helena had tried, and sometimes failed, to protect. Their voices rose inside Lena's head, overlapping until it was not just Helena but a chorus. Hundreds of mothers, many faceless, some screaming, some whispering. Let her succeed. Let her succeed. It wasn't just an echo of memory. It was a command, a demand. Lena stumbled through the smoke, leaning against the wall, each contraction hitting harder than the last. The world was spinning, orange and black and gray, and yet the voices, their chant, steadied her. She was not alone. Helena had not left her alone. The fire spread faster than she anticipated. A ceiling beam cracked and fell with a deafening crash, sending sparks across the hallway. Lena dove to the floor, crawling on her hands and knees. Every breath burned, every step was agony. The heat pressed down on her like a weight, but she moved. One hand on the wall, one hand on her abdomen. Step by step. Somewhere behind her, a door blew outward, sending flames shooting like fingers across the hallway. Lena's skin blistered before she could pull away. Her mind screamed, her lungs protested. But again, the voices, the mother's chorus, strengthened her. They were counting on her. She could not fail. The contractions doubled her over, ripping tears and sweat from her body. She sank to the floor, panting, her fingers gripping the carpet like a lifeline. The sound of the fire was deafening now, a relentless roar that threatened to consume everything. Yet through the noise, she heard it, the chant, clear, insistent. Let her succeed. Let her succeed. Lena pressed her face to the floor, inhaling smoke and grit, and she imagined the faces of the women Helena had failed. She imagined their lives, their small victories and their bitter defeats. And she realized they had been waiting for this moment. For her moment. The labor intensified, cruel and unrelenting. Her body shook, sweat and tears mingling on her skin. She gritted her teeth, pushing with every ounce of strength she could muster. The hallway seemed to twist further, walls melting into shadows, yet the voices guided her. Every chant was a hand, every whisper a push forward. Flames crept closer, the heat searing her face, yet she crawled through the smoke, inch by agonizing inch. The voices swelled, overlapping now into a single, unstoppable tide. Let her succeed. Let her succeed. Let her succeed. She collapsed against a wall, her mind swimming, and the pain became unbearable, stretching and tearing through her body like wildfire. And yet, still, there was focus. The child inside her moved with a life of its own, as if aware of the urgency surrounding them. Lena's vision darkened at the edges. She clutched her stomach, feeling the first crowning, the first push that signaled the impossibility of turning back. She whispered to herself, to the unborn child, to Helena, to the chorus of mothers. We will not fail. A piece of the ceiling fell inches from her head, scattering sparks across the hallway. The heat seared her skin, and she screamed, not for herself, but for the life she carried, the legacy she must protect. Pain tore through her, relentless and punishing, yet there was purpose now, clarity amidst the chaos. The voices guided her hands, her body, her mind. Let her succeed, they chanted over and over, until it was not just a plea but a command from the universe itself. Lena gritted her teeth, sweat blinding her, lungs gasping. The child's head emerged, tiny and miraculous, in a moment suspended between panic and awe. She cried out, a sound swallowed by the roaring fire, and with one final shuddering push, the baby entered the world. The cry came almost immediately, muffled by the smoke but unmistakable, a sound of pure life and defiance. Lena, trembling, pressed the infant to her chest. The heat pressed in, the flames licked closer, yet somehow, impossibly, they existed in a bubble of their own. Safe for now, surrounded by the echoes of those mothers who had never truly left her side. Lena's body sagged against the wall, the baby nestled against her chest, and she allowed herself a moment to breathe, to feel the weight of survival, of legacy, of promise fulfilled. The voices softened, fading from chants to whispers, their energies settling around her like a protective shield. You have succeeded, they said, collectively, a final blessing echoing in her bones. Her gaze drifted to the hallway, flames dancing, smoke curling, and she understood. Helena's fight, her failures, her losses, they had not been in vain. This child, this small miracle, was the continuation of everything Helena had tried to protect. And Lena, who had carried them both through fire and agony, was the vessel of hope, of redemption, of the future Helena had dreamed of but could not hold. The building continued to burn, the fire relentless, yet inside that corridor, amidst the smoke and heat and chaos, a quiet triumph existed. Lena pressed her cheek to the baby's head, whispering the truth that the mothers had carried across time. "We will survive. We will continue. We will succeed." And in that moment, the fire no longer felt like destruction but transformation, a crucible in which the legacy of Helena, the courage of mothers, and the will of a new generation were forged, unbreakable and incandescent. Lena's hands trembled as the smoke curled around her like living fingers, her chest still heaving from the exertion of birth. The baby pressed against her heart, warm and fragile, tiny fingers curling against her skin. The world outside the hallway was chaos, flames consuming everything Helena had built, but inside, something was stirring, something impossibly alive. A soft glow shimmered at the edge of her vision. She turned her head, squinting through tears and smoke, and saw it, Helena. Or rather, Helena's hands. They hovered inches above the baby, translucent, ethereal, guiding with the gentleness of someone who had fought for life in the shadow of death. "You can do this," Helena's voice whispered, not with sound but with certainty, radiating through Lena's mind. "The transference, the ritual. You are ready." Lena shook her head, panic flaring. Ritual? She had read Helena's notes, the fragments of a practice lost to time, whispered only in fear. It had been meant to save mothers on the brink, to preserve life when death was all that lingered. But she had never imagined performing it herself, never imagined the power, the danger, the responsibility. I don't know if I." "Trust me," Helena's hands urged, hovering closer, their warmth brushing against Lena's palms. The baby whimpered, a soft, innocent sound, and something deep inside Lena answered. She could feel the life pulse within her child, within herself, intertwined in a delicate web that reached beyond flesh. She inhaled, closing her eyes, and followed the rhythm of Helena's guidance. The first step was simple in concept but overwhelming in execution. Lena extended her hands over herself and the child, forming a circle with the body as the center. She traced the symbols Helena had drawn in the margins of her notebooks, lines, curves, crescents, intricate shapes that hummed faintly against her fingertips. Smoke coiled around her, but instead of suffocating, it seemed to bend toward her, drawn to the ritual's energy. Then came the surge. The air shimmered, electric and alive, as a force that was both maternal and divine flowed from Lena's core outward. It coiled around the baby, wrapped around her, spiraled through the room, touching walls, furniture, every particle of smoke and ash. The flames around them recoiled as if in awe, flickering violently before sputtering and dying, extinguished by the invisible, unstoppable tide of life that surged through the room. Where fire had threatened death, now a circle of luminous calm enclosed them, radiant and protective. Lena gasped, her vision blurring with tears, sweat, and smoke. The ritual pulsed, not just with energy, but with intention. She felt the spirits of the mothers who had guided her, the echoes of Helena's own sacrifices, and the life force of the child harmonize. The power was immense, terrifying, and yet, somehow, infinitely gentle. A light, soft and golden, emanated from the baby, bathing the room in warmth. Lena looked down and saw it, a small crescent-shaped mark on the child's forehead. The birthmark glimmered faintly, like a sigil of protection, unmistakably Helena's mark. Her chest tightened, tears streaming freely. This child, her child, was now the living embodiment of Helena's work, of the legacy she had fought for and failed to fully secure. The chorus of mothers swelled one last time, a gentle, harmonious wave that filled the room. "You have succeeded," they whispered, fading gradually into silence. No longer angry, no longer haunted by what had been lost. Their spirits dissolved into a calm radiance, leaving Lena and her child at the heart of the room, safe, alive, and whole. Lena sank to the floor, holding the baby close. She felt Helena's presence fade gently, leaving a warmth behind that was not cold or absent, but embedded in the very bones of the room, the child and herself. The fire was gone, replaced by a quiet sanctity. The walls were charred, the carpet ruined, but the circle remained untouched, a shrine of life amidst destruction. Her mind reeled, trying to process the miracle, the supernatural intervention, the undeniable truth that she had just performed something Helena herself had never lived to accomplish. She had not only survived the fire, she had become the vessel of Helena's work, the living continuation of a promise that had seemed impossible. The baby's tiny hand found hers, gripping with surprising strength. Lena smiled, exhausted but elated, and whispered softly, "We will carry her forward. Your fight is not over. Mine begins now." Outside, the firemen were finally breaking through the upper floors, smoke detectors blaring and hoses spraying, but inside the circle, nothing touched them. The world beyond the door could burn. The room, the child, and the life they represented were sacred and untouchable. Lena looked down at the crescent on her child's forehead again. It glimmered faintly, a symbol of survival, of hope, of the continuity of love and sacrifice. She knew that every mother Helena had failed to save, every effort that had seemed lost, had led to this moment. And now, she bore the responsibility to protect it, to nurture it, to ensure that the legacy would endure. The fire outside was dying, but the moment inside was eternal. The room pulsed with energy, a quiet, steadfast heartbeat echoing in rhythm with her own. Lena realized that this was not the end but the true beginning. She had stepped into Helena's shoes, absorbed her strength, and emerged transformed. Her child's eyes opened, wide and luminous, reflecting something ancient, wise, and unbroken. Lena whispered again, not to the child, but to the spirits that had watched over her, to Helena herself, to every life that had been touched and protected by the work she now carried. "We will continue. We will succeed. We will honor you." And as the last tendrils of smoke vanished, as the circle of light pulsed gently around them, Lena understood fully. She was no longer merely a survivor. She was the legacy, the culmination of years of sacrifice, struggle, and love. And the future, bright, fierce, and unshakable, rested in her arms. The fire at Windermere Bay had been a crucible, testing every ounce of strength, every fragment of courage. But in the end, it had forged something unbreakable. A circle of life in the heart of death, a child born under the mark of hope, a woman who had become more than herself. She had become the living testament to Helena's vision, the embodiment of every mother's fight, every whispered promise. Lena rocked the baby gently, feeling the heartbeat beneath her hand, feeling the weight of responsibility, and yet, also the exhilaration of triumph. She had not just survived. She had transformed, guided by the hands of a woman who had once been gone, yet never truly left. The room was quiet now. The flames were extinguished, the smoke dissipated, and the spirits had faded into peace. Outside, sirens wailed, firemen shouted, Chaos persisted, but inside, life flourished, radiant and unyielding. Lena closed her eyes, holding the child to her chest, and whispered one final promise. "We will protect it. We will honor it. We will make it matter." And for the first time since the fire had begun, she truly believed it. The first rays of sunrise stretched across Windermere Bay, spilling golden rose across the charred walls and soot-stained windows. The fire had died completely, leaving the building battered but still standing, a phoenix rising from its own ashes. Lena stepped out into the crisp morning air, the newborn cradled against her chest, swaddled in a blanket that smelled faintly of smoke and warmth. The baby stirred, eyes fluttering open, and in that tiny gaze was the unmistakable echo of Helena's crescent mark, a sign that some legacies could never be destroyed. The town had gathered outside, hesitant, wary, yet curious. Whispers rippled through the crowd, about the fire, about the child, about Helena Torres. But as their eyes fell on Lena and the baby, the realization dawned like sunlight across the horizon. Helena had not been a witch, as rumor had once claimed. She had been a healer, a protector of mothers, a woman who dared to fight against the despair that so often consumed them. Lena raised her head, scanning the faces in the crowd. Some were teary, some awestruck, all changed. The fear and suspicion that had haunted Helena's name dissolved in the warmth of morning light and the undeniable truth of survival. The whispers grew softer, kinder. Acceptance had come, not as a quiet apology, but as a recognition of the courage and love that had been at the heart of everything Helena had done. The mayor stepped forward, clearing his throat. "From this day forward," he announced, "this building will no longer be called Windermere Bay. It will bear the name of the woman who gave her life to protect mothers and children. We will call it the Helena Foundation." Applause rippled through the crowd, a gentle thunder of acknowledgement, hope, and promise. Lena's hands tightened around the baby, feeling the steady warmth, the small, perfect heartbeat beneath her palm. She thought of the fire, of the ritual, of the voices of the mothers who had guided her through the smoke and pain. And she understood fully what Helena had left behind. Not just a building, not just a name, but a mission, a home, a sanctuary, a beacon for those who would come after. "This building didn't save me," Lena whispered to the wind, to the crowd, to the memory of Helena. Her voice was soft, but firm, carrying across the empty streets and burned corridors. "It made me." The baby cooed, a fragile, joyous sound, and Lena smiled. For the first time in days, she felt the world settle beneath her feet, not as chaos, not as fire, but as possibility. Together, they walked into the new day, the sun rising higher, illuminating not just the building, but the hope it now embodied. The town watched in quiet awe as mother and child disappeared toward the newly established foundation. The echoes of Helena's legacy lingered in every beam, every brick, every whisper of wind through the rebuilt corridors. This was more than survival, it was transformation, courage crystallized into action, love woven into stone. Lena paused at the threshold, glancing back one last time. She pressed a kiss to her baby's forehead, the crescent mark glowing faintly in the morning light. "We'll carry this forward," she said. "For every mother who needs a hand, for every child who needs hope. We will be their legacy now." And with that, the doors of the Helena Foundation opened fully, welcoming the future. Wherever you're watching from, know this story is for you. Subscribe for more powerful stories that celebrate courage, family, and the strength we carry within us. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from, and share the hope that lives in every challenge we face.